The camera glides over the surface of the ocean. Gentle waves ripple under a pale morning sun, the water catching light like scattered shards of glass. Far below, shadows of reef and rock stretch across the sea floor, the colors shifting from turquoise to deep cobalt. On the horizon, something emerges. At first, just a smudge, then the jagged outline of an island, its cliffs cutting sharply against the sky. This island has no name on public maps. No cruise ships pass near it. To the outside world, it's simply another uninhabited stretch of land in a vast ocean. But in truth, it is a fortress, part research facility, part living time capsule, and entirely off-limits to anyone without clearance. The year is 2010. InGen, the same company that once stunned the world by resurrecting creatures from the age of dinosaurs, operates here in absolute secrecy. Their name, once whispered in awe and fear, has faded from the public conversation. Decades of scandal and disaster have taught them that the best way to continue their work is to vanish from sight. And so they have. Inside the sprawling compound, everything runs with machine-like precision. Hallways echo with the low hum of ventilation systems. Fluorescent lights cast a sterile glow over laboratories lined with steel counters and containment tanks. Glass walls reveal glimpses of movement. Scaled tails, clawed feet, the rise and fall of massive chests as something inside takes slow, deliberate breaths. To the staff, this has become routine. The sight of a creature that last walked the Earth 65 million years ago no longer draws gasps. It draws checklists, vital signs, feeding schedules, security protocols. They are caretakers, scientists, and wardens all at once. At precisely 11:42 a.m., in Lab C4, a man leans over his workstation. He's in his mid-40s, hair slightly unkempt from the morning rush, safety glasses perched just above his forehead. His focus is fixed on a monitor displaying a series of genetic markers, patterns and sequences only a handful of people on the planet can fully understand. He reaches into his lab coat pocket, feeling for a small, familiar comfort, a wrapped piece of candy. It's a habit, something he's done on countless long shifts, a tiny moment of sweetness in a world of pressure and control. He peels the wrapper back slowly, the faint crinkle of foil almost lost under the constant background hum of machines. But then, without even noticing, he lets the empty wrapper slip from his fingers. It falls silently, drifting through the still, conditioned air. It touches the floor with a whisper, no louder than the brush of fabric on skin. For a moment, it rests there, harmless. But the airlock in the far corner exhales, a barely audible hiss as pressure shifts. The wrapper stirs. It slides an inch, then another, almost lazily, until it reaches the seam of the security door. The building's filtration system is a marvel of engineering. It's designed to maintain sterile, stable conditions. But in this moment, that very system betrays them. The wrapper is drawn toward the narrow gap at the base of the door, crumpling softly as it's sucked into the mechanism. Inside the control panel, the intrusion registers as resistance. A sensor stutters. A minor fault pings the system. Normally, it would be nothing, an automated correction, a quiet fix. But here, where dozens of security layers are bound together, one small fault is enough to send a ripple through the network. Overhead, a single red light begins to blink. Slowly at first, then faster. In the hallway beyond, a low chime sounds, sharp, insistent. The technician glances up, frowning. He moves to his console, fingers flying over commands meant to reset the system. But the warning persists. And then, with a deep, mechanical groan, the door's locking pins retract. At first, the opening is no more than a sliver. Cold, filtered air rushes outward, replaced by a heavier, more humid draft from beyond. The smell changes, metal and antiseptic giving way to something damp, earthy, and faintly musky. The technician freezes. He knows that smell. Everyone here does. Suddenly, alarms erupt. Sirens scream through the corridors, their pitch designed to trigger an instinctive surge of adrenaline. Lights flash in rapid bursts, bathing the walls in alternating white and red. The sound of running feet echoes from every direction as personnel respond to the breach. But one man runs toward it. He's tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in dark tactical gear. His boots hammer the floor as his earpiece crackles with urgent commands. Section C breach, immediate lockdown. He rounds the corner and sees the door, still open just wide enough for something small or fast to pass through. He slams his palm against the manual override, and the door shudders, beginning its slow march toward closure. And then, movement. A shadow detaches itself from the deeper shadows beyond, low to the ground, sleek, the glint of eyes catching the flashing light for just a heartbeat. There's a sound, a rasping exhale, part growl, part hiss. The guard's hand hovers over his holster, but there's no time. In one blur of motion, the shadow surges forward. Claws scrape metal. Teeth flash. The impact is brutal and fast, sending the man sprawling to the floor. His radio clatters away, its voice lost under the chaos. The door continues to close. The gap narrows, but the creature is already past it. And just like that, containment is broken. 17 years pass. In that time, the world changes in ways no one could have fully predicted. Dinosaurs, once confined to labs, enclosures, and islands, become part of Earth's living history again. 32 years have passed since the first of them was brought back, but their second life is far from a paradise. The modern world is not their world. The climate has shifted. The air and water hold threats their bodies were never built to fight. New diseases sweep through their populations. Some species vanish for the second and perhaps final time. Those that survive migrate, pulled by instinct toward the one place that still feels like home, the equator. There, the heat and humidity mimic the jungles and swamps of their primeval past. Governments declare these regions off-limits, citing safety and ecological necessity. But humans have never been good at staying away from the forbidden. And deep in that uncharted, lawless band of Earth, under a canopy so thick that sunlight becomes a stranger, the next chapter of this story waits to be written.